Good everyone, it's Steve from Sneaker Tech Talk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the Nike Lebron 23 in the grand opening colorway. So without further ado, let's take a look at the newest Lebron shoe. Alright, so this shoe is inspired by the Air Zoom Generation first games from back in 2003. Man, that's crazy. 23 years ago now. As you can see, 10/29/2003, I believe. So pretty cool to have a colorway inspired by that shoe from many years ago, almost a quarter of a century now, which is just wild. But as you can see here, we do have the 23rd signature shoe for LeBron James, and I think this colorway is going to be one of the best. I know there's a ton of colorways coming out. I believe there's actually 23 colorways, but I really like this one. I'm not a huge fan of white shoes, but I do like the red and the black and the gold hits running throughout. So as always, starting at the bottom of the shoe, you do have that 23 inspired outsole in this translucent rubber. It's kind of like a wave pattern running throughout, like a herringbone pattern. Overall, the traction on these is pretty nice. On dirty floors, they do struggle just a little bit. You will have to wipe the bottom of this shoe or you will slide out to a stop. Nothing crazy. Like I said, you can see that 23 right here. Overall, it is a pretty reliable setup. If you're only playing on like university floors or very clean floors, this is an elite traction pattern. You won't have any issues at all, but just keep in mind, if you're playing on your standard kind of rec gym floor that is pretty dirty, you will have to give these a quick wipe every so often and you will be good to go. So the traction on the Lebron 23, I have played in the other colorway, the Miami Twice colorway, and the traction is actually quite nice. So keep that in mind. As far as the cushioning goes, these do have a drop-in midsole setup, so they are kind of like that dual last midsole, nothing on the outside as far as the foam, or double lasted midsole, sorry. But housed within the shoe is a new setup for the LeBron series, and you are getting a Cushlon 3.0 on the outside of this drop-in midsole and on the bottom portion, and then everything running down the middle is actually Zoom X. Underfoot, it is quite nice. The one issue I had with this cushioning setup is this seam right here. It has glue and it's pretty firm. That takes some time to break in because the initial hour or two is quite painful around that seam. But once it breaks in, these are good to go. The Zoom X is very nice and springy underfoot. You actually get quite a bit of impact protection at the back of the shoe. The front of the shoe for a LeBron is like very close to the floor. Like this is very thin for a cushioning setup for a typical LeBron shoe, which is really nice because you get some really good court feel. As you all know, I do like Zoom Air. It would have been nice to have some sort of Zoom Air setup housed within this drop-in midsole, Zoom Strobel, but this is what we're getting for 210 USD, 260 here in Canada. A Cushlon 3.0 and Zoom X drop-in midsole with that carbon fiber mid-foot shank plate. It is a pretty nice setup. The heel to toe transition is pretty nice. It's a little bit clunky at the back of the shoe. I think that's more because of the more heavyweight nature of this model, but overall the cushioning is really nice. Check out my full performance review. This is more of just a overview of this colorway, the grand opening. Now, as far as the fit goes on the LeBron 23s, I do find that they do fit quite wide across the midfoot right here. The length, some people find that they do fit long. My toe with my true to size 10.5 is seated right about at the end of the shoe right here, so nothing crazy, but I do find that they are a bit wide across the middle of the shoe. So my best recommendation would be to go in store and try these on for yourself to see how they fit your foot shape and size. And they are good to go, but they just take a little bit of time to break in, more so because of the materials on the upper. We will go through next, but the fit is very nice. The tongue is gusseted. It is padded quite nice as well. So I do enjoy the fit. I would just recommend trying these on in store. Now, as far as the materials go, on the crown containment logo, on the Miami Twice pair, it is patent leather. On these, it is kind of this red and black checkerboard material. It looks to be a lot more durable on this pair right here compared to patent leather. Moving your way up from that, you do have a really nice embroidery stitching right here running throughout the upper of this shoe. And then you kind of just have this almost like nylon or mesh material on the upper. And there is some fuse overlays with some lions on the upper of this shoe right here. You can see a lion face right there. It's a pretty durable upper. You have like a synthetic leather material here with the old school LJ23 and crown logo. Really cool to see that back on the medial side and on the back of the shoe right here. Overall, the materials aren't that breathable, but they are very durable. The tongue also has that synthetic material at the top and a mesh tongue right here for some pretty nice breathability up the middle of the tongue. But I wouldn't say it's anything premium, but it definitely gets the job done and it's gonna last on court, that is for sure. But for that $210 price point, I'm sure a lot of different colorways are gonna have different materials, some really nice nubucks, suedes, leathers, you name it. But on this one, you're kind of getting that mesh material with this kind of checkerboard. I don't even know what this is, but it just feels a lot better than that patent leather on the Miami Twice pair. But sound off in the comments if you guys have seen these in store. What do you think of this colorway here? The grand opening LeBron 23s. As far as the weight goes for the Nike LeBron 23 in a US size 10.5, these do come in at 16.9 ounces, so more on the heavier side of things. But honestly, once you have these on foot, it's really a non-issue. And then as far as the support goes for this model, this is a very supportive basketball shoe, and this actually might be this shoe's best feature for on-court use. At the back of the shoe, you have a very sturdy internal heel counter, which does a great job of locking your foot down at the back of the LeBron 23s. And then you have this crown containment logo, which they are saying houses your foot in on hard lateral cuts. But the real hero here is actually the lace loops running down right here, down into the strobel board on both sides of the shoe. So when you make those hard lateral cuts, as long as you have your laces tied up very snug, those lace loops are kind of acting like seatbelts around your foot on both sides and really housing your foot in. It's not so much this logo right here, but everything behind it, coupled with this material, the drop-in midsole, as well as it does have that lip on both sides. This is just a superb supportive basketball shoe as far as I'm concerned. You also have with the drop-in midsole that carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, so it does a great job of keeping your foot supported underneath the arch. And then you also have this different material from the Cushlon 3.0. It is more firm and it is only on the lateral side of the drop-in midsole, and that's to prevent this from being tippy when you're making those hard cuts. It does offer just a little bit more support than the softer Cushlon and Zoom X foam. So that's another really nice feature within this drop-in midsole. A lot of engineering and thought definitely went into this. I didn't mention it in the fit, but you also have these little grippies here that are crown logos. So when your foot is seated within this drop-in midsole, these kind of prevent your foot from sliding around. But overall, like I said, this is a very supportive basketball shoe. One of his best. Like I've played in every LeBron from the Air Zoom generation until now, and the standout feature for this shoe is definitely the support. And obviously with him being in his record-breaking 23rd season, he definitely needs that within his shoes, and he gets that within the Nike LeBron 23. And then really quickly, as far as the design goes, I actually love the design of this shoe. At first, when I saw some mock images like 6 or 7 months ago, I wasn't sure if I liked them because of that oversized crown logo, but getting them in hand, they are very nice in hand. They're a pretty good hoop shoe. I wouldn't say they're like an absolute elite hoop shoe, but they hold their own on court. And I think just all of the details that you get within this shoe, the packaging for this shoe is absolutely insane. Like the box weighs over 10 pounds. You get a medallion. You get some extra red laces with this pair right here. And then you do get that little booklet that comes with all of the LeBron 23s. It kind of tells his story, the colorways that will be coming, and just everything within his line. I love the design of these. I love the callbacks with this colorway and the old school logos. I'm very excited to see pretty much every colorway that they're going to be coming out with and kind of the stories that they will tell with each colorway. I think it's going to be great, and definitely excited to see what they do in 2025 and well into 2026. But like I said, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at Sneaker Tech Talk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. But as always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.